Joining us now from somewhere in Manhattan, Democratic commentator Jami Floyd, and from Washington, Fox News analyst Linda Chavez, a Republican. I'd like to begin with you. I really submit to Howard Wolfson that, look, it's a different game now with Governor Palin. Her charisma and her rock star status is now reinstated, all right? She had it, she lost it, and now it's back. But how does that translate into votes?
Well, I have to tell you, she reminds me not so much of a rock star. She reminds me of somebody I used to work for, Ronald Reagan. And people were always underestimating Ronald Reagan. They said, well, he didn't understand the details of complicated issues. But the fact is that both Ronald Reagan and Sarah Palin actually understand the core principles. And she understands that we should have a smaller government, lower taxes, that people should take personal responsibility, and she believes in a strong and muscular defense and foreign policy. And that's, I think, what she conveyed last night.
Do you believe, though, that Sarah Palin's frame of reference is as strong as Ronald Reagan's was?
Look, Ronald Reagan was a lot older than Sarah Palin when he became president.
Correct.
And he
Bigger
had
state,
a lot of history,
California.
bigger state,
Right.
2 terms rather, of serving as governor of California, and he had a lot of depth. I think that Sarah Palin is really one of those people who has a very intuitive grasp of politics. I think she does connect with people, but I also think she is guided by principle. She has a framework. She has a worldview that is going to guide her. And, you know, you can hire a lot of staff to get down into the nitty-gritty and the policy wonk details of every public policy proposal, but she has that kind of core belief that I think is going to serve her well.
Okay, but how does that translate into votes? Are people going to vote for her even though she's on the VP side of the ticket?
Well, look, people vote for the president. They don't vote for the vice president. But I think she's not going to hurt John McCain. I think she helps him with his base.
What do you think, Ms. Floyd?
I think that remains to be seen, and I think your question about whether it translates into votes is key. First of all, the election is far from over, and we may have a roller coaster ride for Sarah Palin. Yes, she has redeemed herself. She had dropped from 45% in the polls to 25% in terms of Americans who believe she was ready to be a heartbeat away from the presidency. She has redeemed herself. But as Linda says, people don't vote for that vice presidential candidate.
Let me submit this to you. Tuesday, you're going to have polls that will take into consideration the debate last night. Okay? That's when you'll see them. They'll come in. I'm going to tell you those polls are going to be better for McCain by 2-3 points, Ms. Floyd. There is no other factor. Okay? No other factor other than Sarah Palin. So I'm going to tell you those polls are going to go up. And that women particularly, and I'm not being chauvinistic here, identify with her strongly, traditional women, are going to say, yeah, I know it's McCain, but I like her so much, I'm going with that ticket.
But Bill, as we have discussed so many times before, this campaign is about the middle. This campaign is about the undecided. This campaign is about the independents.
Traditional women who are very undecided.
I don't think that she won those women over last night. She played beautifully to her base. He will get the bounce, you predict, as he did after the convention. What happens after that remains to be seen.
But if she's going to get the bounce, where's the bounce coming from?
Undecided.
Wait a minute. Ms. Floyd, if she's going to get the bounce, as you say, you agree with me on that, where's the bounce coming from?
The bounce as of Tuesday. But
right.
then
Where's it coming from? It's got to be coming
election.
from independents and people who switch.
But we have to get to Election Day, and I do not have the confidence that Linda seems to have in her substantive abilities. Linda can talk about policy wonks all she wants, but I found it incredibly reassuring, and I think many Americans did as well, to hear Joe Biden speak on the issues with substance, with experience. And Sarah Palin, look, she did a wonderful job of preparing for this debate. I'm a mother. I'm a soccer mom. I understand. But I need more than that, a heartbeat away from
but you're also a
most
Democrat.
American women feel the same.
You're also a Democrat. So,
Indeed.
you know, the independent mindset is, I'm an independent, and the independent mindset is different. The Democrats and the Republicans have rooting interest. Look, most Republicans in this country wanted Governor Palin do well last night. They were rooting for her. It's like a game. It's like going to a baseball game. They're go, go, go. And most Democrats didn't. They wanted her to bomb and be a buffoon, so that would help Barack Obama. But the independent mindset, and this is what's it. This is what's going to be in Ohio. This is what's going to be in Pennsylvania, Missouri, Florida, and Virginia. The independent mindset is, I want someone elected who I like. And with all due respect to John
Absolutely.
McCain, I like John McCain, and I like Barack Obama. When I talked to him, he was fine. But Obama comes closest. But I'll tell you what, of the four of them in the race, in my opinion, the person who engenders the most emotion is Sarah Palin.
You're absolutely right, Bill. You're absolutely right. And I've been saying this for years. Likability is the big factor in elections. And if you don't like somebody, it's what killed John Kerry. John Kerry was simply not likable. Sarah Palin is absolutely very likable.
Yeah, and especially last night.
As is President Bush. I've met President Bush several times, and he's quite likable. But I think at this time, people want to feel safe. They want to feel certain about the economy. They want to feel certain about
But that's why McCain's there. He's the safe guy.
And by the resolution for the war. And what Sarah Palin could not do, likability, winking, the word maverick as many times as she wanted to throw it out, she cannot divorce the McCain policies from the George Bush policies.
You got to look ahead, though. You got to look ahead. You heard how she scolded Biden.
I'm looking ahead.
Exactly right.
I'm looking ahead. I'm looking ahead, and I expect her to perform as she did after the convention in the days and weeks ahead.
All right. Well, we're going to see a bounce for McCain next week, which means that some voters are going to vote for Palin, and then we'll see what happens on Tuesday night's debate. All right. Thanks very much.